Paul Fletcher, we heard from the Auditor-General in the Senate estimates hearing today that the commuter car park funding was allocated on the basis of it going to the top 20 marginal electorates, not on merit, and with projects identified by government MPs and candidates. How can that possibly be an acceptable way of allocating over $500 million of taxpayers' money?
Well, the commuter car park fund projects were decided based on need. It's part of the overall urban congestion fund, which is designed to reduce urban congestion in our big cities. So Melbourne, of course, our fastest growing city, and Infrastructure Australia advises that 38% of people in Melbourne are not within walking distance of public transport compared to 25% in Sydney. So the idea of commuter car parks is to get people to drive to a station and then get on the train to get to where they need to go, thus reducing congestion across the overall road network and indeed use the rail network more efficiently. So,
well, that sounds like a really good idea, except some of these car parks weren't even on a train line, and they were grouped in a part of Melbourne that doesn't have the biggest congestion problem. So how does this make sense?
We looked at a range of factors in determining the locations, including where there were existing commuter car parks. So the Victorian government had, under its own program, committed to a significant number of commuter car parks in northern and western Melbourne overwhelmingly. And so that influenced where we determined where the commuter car parks would go. But ultimately it was...
So ministers and MPs are experts on this?
Well, the Minister for Urban Infrastructure has responsibility in this area. This is all part of the Infrastructure Investment Program, and under the National Land Transport Act, decisions are made by the government of the day, in this case the Minister for Urban Infrastructure. He in turn gets his authority from the Prime Minister or from Cabinet to make commitments, and that's what he did, with a view to reducing congestion in our big cities. Melbourne, our fastest growing city, and the Urban Congestion Fund, of which the Commuter Car Park Fund forms part, was established with this objective. I might say that Labor similarly took a park and ride fund to the last election, and a whole range of commuter car park commitments were made for stations like Campbelltown, like Woy Woy, like Gosford, like Mango Hill, like Panania, like Frankston. Those commitments made by both Labor and the Coalition. And it's not clear when ambitious Labor members are jumping up and down about this why they were committed to commuter car parks in 2019, but for some reason now they've revised their position.
Well, Minister, I think the public gets pretty tired of they were doing it two arguments, but the scale of this, the lack of transparency, the lack of a public bidding process, the approval by press release, it has really taken the whole use of taxpayers' funding for effectively Liberal Party pork barrelling to a new level. It would be the same if it was Labor, would make the same accusations.
Can I reject your characterisation, Laura? We make decisions about infrastructure commitments based upon need. The three biggest commitments we've made in Melbourne over the last few years: $5 billion, Melbourne Airport Rail Link; $2 billion, Geelong Faster Rail; $2 billion from Melbourne Intermodal Terminal, either Beveridge or Truganina, announced at the most recent budget. All of those projects, as it happens, are in Labor electorates. I don't hear Labor MPs jumping up and down and saying, this is outrageous, the Morrison government spending $9 billion in Labor electorates. We didn't turn our mind. No, just let me finish. We didn't turn our mind in determining those investments to the particular electorates. We turned our mind to need, where infrastructure projects are needed. And the basis of the Urban Congestion Fund is the need to reduce congestion in our big cities, of which Melbourne has been the fastest growing, and is also the one, as I've indicated, based upon Infrastructure Australia advice, where you've got a significantly higher percentage of people than Sydney who are not within walking distance of public transport.
Just on another subject, Minister, while you've been throwing $660 million at car parks, the live music industry is on life support now. Are you considering giving them more than the $200 million you've allocated so far?
Well, we have committed very significant funding to support the arts sector, including live music. And part of that is the $200 million RISE fund. We've already allocated $100 million of that, and we're continuing to allocate funding. I will be tomorrow sitting down with members of the Creative Economy Task Force which is some 10 or 11 people drawn from different parts of the performing and creative arts all around Australia to get their advice on how the latest lockdowns are affecting the performing arts and music in particular. My point is we've committed significant funding. There remains significant of that unallocated. We're continuing to receive applications, and obviously we're considering how, as we deploy the remainder of that funding, we can best support our performers around Australia in music and so many other sectors, enormously important as we come through COVID. And also very important that as we go through these tough times, that our spirits are lifted by seeing great Aussie performers on stage.
Minister, thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks, Laura.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.